Hi guys, hope you're well. Welcome to Thursday Thoughts. Your questions answered live. It's Des here, of course. Hopefully you're having a great week. Hopefully you're looking forward to the long bank holiday weekend. Really looking forward to it today. As I always say, it almost feels like the start of my weekend anyway, despite the fact I've normally got another day to do. Now I've just got a couple of episodes of DOdaily, the questions, and then wake up to walk in the morning, and I can really set about trying to make the most of it. Hopefully we can just cling on to that last bit of nice weather. It's not plummeted yet. It's due to plummet in the next few days, but it might just stick around. You never know. Really looking forward to the weekend though. I've been really busy this week. So much on, I spoke about time a lot. Really struggling to find it for some things, but it's good. I mentioned on Monday that one positive, well, I've said it quite a lot, one positive action leads to another, and the fact that when you start sort of doing things sort of build off the back of that. It's quite easy to get into a slump. And the reason we do get into a slump is because we just kind of sort of push everything to one side. So trying to keep the momentum going, trying to keep at it. Been a really strange day today. I mentioned yesterday I had my COVID jab. And whilst I don't think it's directly linked, I'm really tired today. Not done that much activity so far, but I will get out. The beauty of the longer days is that I can still get out in the daylight. One thing it was doing when it was getting dark about this time, it was making me get out and do it. So I did get in some daylight, just a little bit, partly through being busy, partly through the fact it's lighter longer, a little bit procrastination, just creeping in. So I just got to be mindful of that. This normally on a Thursday gives me some good structure, but I've not, like I said, I've not done that much yet. Probably only done about 3,000 steps, which is not normal for myself at this time of day. But I'll get out there, I'll make the most of it. And like I say, the temperatures have not sort of gone just yet, so I'm looking forward to getting out after the video tonight. Give me a chance to sort of listen back, think about some of the things I've said, where I've gone wrong. It's normally the case, and that's the thing about Thursday Thoughts, isn't it? It's nothing too serious, it's nothing too technical. It's just a few ideas, a few bits of information, what people might want to know. That's why I asked you to post your questions in. Got couple to go at today, and one slightly different one at the end. That'll all become clear. Really appreciate those that sent them in. It's the regulars as ever. Can't thank them enough for supporting DOdaily and getting behind what I do here. I always say I'm trying to build it, and this is the only way I can do it, especially on a Thursday. I need your input. So, all things aside, I'm feeling really positive, really ready to go at it, really ready to go at the weekend, and really looking forward to getting stuck into these questions. So let's do that. I'll come back to how I'm feeling after the questions, because it kind of ties in nicely with this week's throwback. I forgot to do that last week, bit of a schoolboy error. It slipped my mind as I was running through it. So we've got a throwback this week. I think it's really relevant, and again, it relates into time and how we're going about things. So, like I said, it'll all become clear. Moving straight into the first question. Dawn says, how do you deal with insect bites? She's basically referring to the fact that I tend to talk about doing lots of activity around the river. I get out there quite a lot, and I really do suffer with insect bites. She said that herself and her partner Ian have been suffering this week, through doing activity. The first sort of hint of summer, whilst it's not summer at all, the weather is warming up. It's definitely spring, and it's just brought one or two bugs out, and after not being eaten alive all winter and getting in lots of exercise and not feeling it, I know for sure it's really sort of it's really got to me this week, really itchy, lots of bites. I tend to get bitten. Well, I don't know, everybody feels the same, but it feels far more than most. So I must have 25 sort of on my legs and arms and on my back. It's really irritating, and it's really frustrating, isn't it? A great question to kind of go at, because it's not something I've looked too much into in the past. Whilst it has bothered me, I just kind of go out and do it, and it's kind of one of them things you have to deal with, isn't it? I don't think we can do absolutely everything about it. But I have been looking into it today. I've been, and some of the things I do anyway and knew of. I've got 5 tips to go out on this one, so I'm going to sort of pop them up one by one and explain a little bit about them. The first one is wear compression clothing. This is kind of important to apparently bugs, mosquitoes in particular. They don't like the woven fabric. Obviously, it's much tougher to get through. So if you're wearing sort of longer socks, it can stop that. Wearing sleeves, that can also help. Because of course they tend to go for the part of the body where it's easiest to get to, where they land. And it's harder to get through. Sort of following on from that, wear lighter clothing as well. It's believed that mosquitoes and other bugs tend to go for the darker clothing. They tend to be attracted to it. So it might be an idea to wear light colours, whites, and of course with the weather picking up, that's really useful in terms of keeping cooler as well, isn't it? When the sun's out, of course we all know that the darker colours, the blacks and the blues and all those kind of colours really attract the heat. So for sort of dual purpose, it might be worthwhile trying to wear lighter colours. Number 3, avoid being outdoors at dawn or dusk. And I was just writing this, and I was just sort of talking away with Kay there, and we said the time when everybody gets to go out for their activity. So it can be a tricky one, this, but apparently the reason this is the case is because it tends to be a little less windy at those times, and the insects actually don't like flying in the wind. Whether that's true or not is another thing, but sorry, it's a little bit more windy at this time. It tends to be a little bit windier, so they don't like flying in the wind. So again, it might be a case that they're not in the air so much, and they're not landing on us and chomping away on us. That's really interesting. But like I say there, it's tends to be the time, doesn't it? The conventional day I spoke about a few times in the last couple of weeks. We go to work during the day, we do everything we've got to do. We fit our activity in before, we fit our activity in after, and sometimes we can't help that, but then potentially one or two of the other tips could sort of add to that as well. If you can get out at lunchtime or before or after dusk, we've been talking a lot about making use of the daytime, so it's kind of conflicting in that sense, but I'm sure you get the point in relation to this question. Of course, one of the things we all know is to protect your skin with repellent spray. What I would say is particularly the thinner skinned areas, your wrist, your elbows, your ankles, your knees, because they tend to go for where the skin is a little bit thinner. Again, a bit like the woven fabric, I suppose it's easy to actually break the skin in that sense. So if you can use repellent spray, I'm a little bit guilty of sort of thinking after the occasion. I've got plenty of spray on at the moment to try and cool some of these bites down, but it's definitely important to consider that before, isn't it? And like anything, I'm sort of itching away at them, getting frustrated. If I'd have taken these measures beforehand, it'd been really useful. And another one that's kind of contradictory in terms of the actual question. Dawn asked the question about running in the evening around the Trent where I'm based from. I do a lot of DOdaily from there. It's what I enjoy. It's what I do the most. And one of the bits of advice I picked up today was to exercise away from ponds and lakes, open water. And again, we all know sort of insects and wildlife and bugs tend to live around water and sort of feed off the plantation. So it might, if you're really sort of frustrated with it, if you're really concerned with it, you might choose you a little bit more carefully, whilst it's got its pitfalls in other ways, running more built up areas or pavement areas, it might just be something to go at. And there's just a few things there that you can do, just to try and help the problem. Like I said right at the start, I don't think it's really something we can fully sort of eradicate from what we do. You know, it's just one of them things we kind of have to live with. But I do know how frustrating it is. It really, really does get me. You know, so I'm going to be taking on a few of those. You know, I'm going to be thinking a little bit more about it. And I'm glad I got that question because, like I said, I kind of just go ahead and do it without thinking too much, you know, until after the occasion when they hurt, when they're really painful. So it's just something to pick up and perhaps use going forward. Thanks for that question. Question 2 today is from Kay. This one gives me a real chance to dig myself into a hole, although I don't think I'm going to. You know, we was just having a conversation. Kay reads a lot of women's running magazines. You know, she's subscribed to one or two of those and gets them delivered. And there was a lot of conversation in one of those this week about whether women should compete at the same distance as men in events. Do you know, and like I say, it'd be easy to sort of dig myself into a hole. But my honest opinion on this, and I've touched on this whole subject about the difference of men and women in the last couple of weeks, and I've tried to open the conversation of how we can, as men in particular, be a little bit better, be a little bit more forthcoming on understanding the problems women suffer. You know, but I think just moving away from the question slightly, I think the biggest issue here is we have to treat everybody the same. You know, I've got such a bee in my bonnet about the way people deal with inclusivity and getting people to do the same thing, whether it's men or women, or whether it's a race issue, or whether it's about religion. You know, to get people integrated, we need to put them into the same scenario. We need to get them feeling the same experience, you know, get them enjoying each other's company, you know, seeing it from different points of view. And nobody wants to do that. When they tend to sort of deal with these issues, they tend to look from one side of the issue solely, you know, and that's not how we're going to get to the bottom of these things. You know, going back to the question, definitely, you know, it's proven that women can do these things. There was a lady, I've got a bit of a story to tell. Many people would have heard of this lady, really, really famous, called Catherine Switzer. She unofficially, although she'd applied officially, but they didn't realise she was a female. She ran the 1967 Boston Marathon, and she was actually attacked by the race director. His name was Jock Semple. It's a really famous story, and I think there might even be a film about this on Netflix, so it's worth looking up. She ran the marathon because she was determined to do it, and she faced all the pitfalls, all the suggestions that women weren't capable, that it was only a race men could take part in, and she'd never see it through. Her first obstacle, in all honesty, was her own coach. But once she'd convinced her own coach, the coach said back, if anyone's going to do it, you're going to do it. So they set about getting into the Boston Marathon, running it. She managed to see it all through. And that was in 1967, like I say. And then she started fighting for women to be part of this, you know. And she realised the impact of what she'd done and how this could change, you know. There's a quote here: if I quit, nobody would ever believe that women had the capability of 26 miles plus. So basically, she was saying she had to do it, and she realised the impact of what she was doing, but she was determined to see positive change as it was. It still didn't happen for another 5 years. It wasn't officially until 1972 that women took part in the Boston Marathon. Do you know? And that's crazy, isn't it? In the year before she actually did it, she tried to get in, and she was told it was psychologically impossible for a woman to complete, which is absolutely bizarre, isn't it? You know, whilst men are physically stronger than women in many ways, you know, and without digging myself into that hole, you could almost question capabilities at a time when they didn't do it. I'm not saying I'd do that now, and no way women are fantastic athletes in the same right as men. But to think that psychologically they couldn't do it, that's absolutely crazy to me. That, looking into this today, that was really striking, that they were saying that they weren't they didn't have the strength of mind to get through that distance. And we all know it takes a bit of well, anybody who's done it knows it takes strength of character, the training, the commitment, the dedication. She ran for 4 hours 20 minutes, and like she says, she had to do it. She had to get through to a point where she could prove that women could do this and then start fighting for it. She did just that, and she got through it. Like I said, that's a really interesting story, and it kind of opened the floodgates then that women were. But the reason Kay asked me the question was a lot of countries, are still looking to stop women doing the longer distances. A lot of cross-country runs, a lot of ultra runs. It's still sort of forbidden for women to do that. And again, it goes back to that issue, doesn't it? If somebody's determined and wants to do it and strong enough and capable, why shouldn't they be? And we've all got to start embracing that we're all equal. For all those discriminatory reasons I said, we've got to appreciate that we're all equal until we're all doing the same things in the same situation. Until we stop looking in at what other people do, criticizing, labeling, sticking a label on something. That is one of the biggest bugbears of mine. I wouldn't say somebody can't do it just because I've never seen them do it. What we've got to do is give them the chance, give them the platform to go and do that, and be supportive and encouraging. Of course, that's kind of what we do through DOdaily, through Do Running. The group, when it's in its more normal times, is open to men, women, and again, that's purposely done that way, so we all sort of integrate together. It's not about fast runners, it's not about athletic, like creating athletes, it's not about encouraging just beginners. It's about putting everybody in the same situation, and why I feel we've had a certain degree of success is because once we've stopped the activity, once people have sort of come together, we all realise that we are just people. We're all the same. We just tend to like the same things, enjoy the same things. So the social environment after the group activities we do pre-COVID, are absolutely fantastic because everybody accepts that. Everybody nobody is looking on anyone as any different. That if anything, we're wanting to sort of get a different perspective. We spend time after these sessions, eating breakfast, drinking drinks, really getting to know each other. And that's what's important, isn't it? And until you sort of start digging deep into why people want to do things, how we can support it, stop running a mile from it. Excuse the pun, we're not going to get to the crux of it. So in terms of the actual question, absolutely there's no way a man or anybody could stop somebody wanting to compete in certain distances, because that's wholly unfair. There's been a massive effort in recent years, but it's still not enough, is it? We've still got to keep working hard. And when I talk about the fact that I've looked to open the conversation, it's important, isn't it? Because whilst consciously I've not done anything and I feel I've done all the right things to be supportive and encouraging, there's things I've probably said unconsciously which has made somebody feel insecure or not quite part of it. And I just want to be better at what I'm doing. I spend a lot of my time around women, around men, around different pace runners. I have to try and understand, and I have to try and understand how we can attract the group. The group as I want to form it is about inclusivity, about people not feeling insecure when they come in. So I've got to find ways of encouraging other religions to run, other races, not just be this one type running club, and that's really important to me. So it's definitely a subject that I'm looking to sort of expand on, and a great question to go at. Like I say, it's difficult sometimes when you're talking about this kind of subject just to a computer screen rather than a full-on sort of two-way dialogue, because it's hard to express how you actually feel. But I think I've done okay there in explaining how I feel about it. And like I say, it all boils down to this thing about not labeling people and actually sharing that experience. And when you do that, you get so much more from it. Question 3 today is a bit different, and I'm really sort of pleased to get this. John, I guess he couldn't think of any questions, but in a way, he's thinking outside the box. He's just sent me a couple of questions. He wanted to get involved, of course. And I'm always looking for people. I always say whatever you ask me, it doesn't matter. Absolutely anything. Prepared to answer it. I'll just be honest and relatable. I think I've done that already today, but he's just fired a couple of really, really random questions at me. Marmite, yes or no? No chance. It just smells disgusting. I'm never going to touch it in my life. Sausage sandwich, ketchup or bran? None. I don't really have sauce with that. Bacon sandwich, ketchup or bran? Neither again. Bit plain, bit bland. You get what you see and all that. Tea first or milk first? Definitely tea first. You don't want baby milk without labelling it. No, I like a strong cup of tea, and I drink quite a lot of tea, so it's important to get it right and make sure the tea goes in first and it's mashed, as we say here in Nottingham. Favourite biscuit? Tends to vary. Again, the one that really springs to mind are the really basic ones. I like bourbons, custard creams. Again, in my tea. Not very excited, am I, when I say things like this? But there you go. Just a few things to go at. Just something quirky, something different. And that's absolutely fine. I'm not wanting this to be particularly serious. Whilst we looked at a serious issue there, whilst I tried to offer some advice in terms of the insect bites, it's good in that sense because it can just help. It can just pass on a bit of information, can just influence people at times and get them thinking about what they're doing. I mentioned earlier in the week, I think it was Monday, sometimes people just tell you something, don't they? And it changes an outlook. And whilst I was out for a very quick walk before I came on today, like I said, I've not done much activity. I was just remembering back at why I do some of the things I do. And I've said this a few times through DOdaily, particularly on Thursday Thoughts. There was a period in my life where I wasn't feeling fantastic. And I took some advice from somebody who I didn't necessarily think I was needing to take advice from. That person didn't really follow their own advice. But something stuck, something was said. And it's that thing about listening, isn't it? We only repeat things that we know, until we start listening, we're not going to learn anything new. And this person said to me on that day that I was feeling a bit sorry for myself. I wasn't working. And they said, lose 2 stone, get your confidence back, put your shoulders out, realise what you can do again and just get yourself out there, And it stuck with me and I did it. It was the kickstart into losing weight, which initially I set off with this intention of losing so much weight, and then I got into running. But it was that one thing that was said to me that really got me going, really got me thinking. And I said earlier in the week that sometimes you can hear something and it can impact you for 10 minutes or it can impact you for 10 years, and that's probably going to impact me forever. It's already been 5 or 6 years since someone said that to me. And from that comment and the fact that then I chose to lose the weight because it stuck with me, I've made so many positive decisions from that, and I'm not embarrassed about any of those. I was thinking back before then, and we've all got skeletons in the closet, we've all got things we're not particularly proud of, nobody can say anything different. But what we have to kind of realize is we're not what we used to be. Sometimes we're not our thoughts, are we? We can only sort of keep striving to be a little bit better, keep listening, keep taking things on board, keep asking questions, be a bit humble, show a bit of humility sometimes, and just take what's available to you. And that's all I'm trying to do here, is offer people the opportunity to use it whichever way it works for them. If they get to take part in some activity or watch these questions and take something from it, that's absolutely fantastic, isn't it? I'm not stupid enough to think that people watch it and think, oh God, that's blown the mind, that's amazing. It's definitely not that. It's a case of just trying to be that little bit of a safe space, I guess. And there's nothing wrong with saying words like that. We all need that. We all need that little bit of time out. I've been mentioning the busy work and this, but I've taken my time to listen to the things I do. I probably spend about an hour and a half a day listening to certain people, trying to find out information to pass across, just to do what I can, because I realise that if I don't know it already, how am I going to sort of put across new information? And that's what it's all about on a Thursday, really. That's why some of those questions in particular, whilst they might not seem relevant at times, somebody might just take something from it. If you go out for a run and you're getting bitten all the time, why not try and improve the experience, because like myself, I always talk about getting it wrong in the past. I've mentioned it today. I've not really done any of those things, but now, because somebody's asked me that question, it'll stick in my mind. And I just kind of wanted to explain that. I wanted to sort of let you know what I was thinking in those terms, because I think it's important to really save ourselves time. It's been a bit of a theme this week, hasn't it? And I said I was going to come back to it. For me personally, I've had a really, really positive start to 2021, whilst 2020 was the year for health for most of us. Really sort of set about trying to put some things in place, extend on what I do through DOdaily, be confident about what I'm doing, because I do lack self-confidence. I'm not embarrassed to say that, even with this, whilst I'm doing it every day, and it might offend some people, it really isn't easy. I worry about what I say, but I'm getting better at getting out my comfort zone. This year, I've dipped my toe into sort of even coaching people, and by doing that, working with people, seeing progress, it's all rubbing back off on me. So it works two ways, and it's just a two-way sort of stream all the time. If you don't do anything, touching on that point about one positive action leads on to another, if you don't do anything, you're not really going to get anywhere, are you? Because you're just in a slump. You have to get yourself into a slump. One of the guys I listen to says, if you're in a slump and a tiger walks into your house, you'll find the motivation to get out of there. And it's just a case of that, isn't it? It's finding some motivation. It's always there. Some people might mock self-development, self-care, coaching sessions, doing these things. They might think it's not for them, but we all take it in a different way. We put music in our ears. All we're doing is convincing ourselves that we need this motivation. It does something for us. What's to say the way it works for you isn't the way it works for someone else, and that's the point I'm trying to make there. So it's really important just to sort of think a lot about the time and how sometimes things like this can really help. Again, just referring back to that insight one, that's particularly going to help me. Being asked about the difference in men's and women races, it keeps my mind sort of ticking of how I can be better, how I can be doing things. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? We can sit and watch the same old rubbish on television, which we're all guilty of, and it's a nice thing to do when you want to wind down at the end of the day. But, it's about getting out there and doing it, isn't it? And that's why I'm always encouraging activity, always encouraging people to check in, leave the comments. So this week, I'm not going to forget, trying to be better already. This week's throwback question is, how's the first quarter of 2021 been for you? Whether it's activity, whether it's some positive changes, I've made lots of those, and despite the fact I'm a little bit tired now, sleeping has definitely been one of those. I think for a bit of confidence, through choosing, really digging deep, looking into it, looking at my eating habits, looking at my drinking habits, whilst I like certain things, I've got to realise what's important. And, by digging deep, by asking questions, by listening to things, by talking about it, realising where I'm going wrong, I think I'm just starting to put it right. I've had a really good start, lots happening right now. I'll keep talking about being busy. So it's all really, really positive. Someone commented on something I did yesterday and said, thank you for being positive. And that was one of the best comments I can get. I'm not trying to be big-headed. I'm not trying to show off. It just made me realise that somebody's watching, somebody's taking something from it, and that's all that matters. Because I always say it's about trying to help one person, and if I can do that, it's definitely worthwhile. As ever, thanks for watching, guys. If you've liked the video, please hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe. If you've ever taken anything from it, I'm sure you have somewhere, even if it's somebody else's question. But whichever way you've taken something from it, please subscribe and like and do all the things I need to do to build this thing. It's really important for me to keep doing it. It's important for me. It's important for those that tune in regular. If you've got any variations to the some of those answers, if you've got extra things to add, please comment below. Let us know what you're up to. Of course, the Steps Challenge is coming to the end of the previous challenge, but I posted in the closed Facebook group, the Do Running closed Facebook group, of the new challenge. Get involved. Even if you don't think you're going to see it through to the end, why not take part? I know there's lots of people who monitor the steps who didn't get involved in the last challenge around me. That's fine. It's absolutely up to the individual, but why not? It's so easy. And once you start doing things together, once you start embracing what's happening around you, you're more likely to go and do it. If I go out for a run and I run with a friend, I'm more likely to do it at said time, at set distance. If I don't, like at the moment, really busy, I'll put it off till later. It's important, isn't it, to instill that accountability and keep moving forward. So that's all I've got to say today, guys. Probably going on a little bit now. If you've got any questions for next week, really appreciate those. Getting a bit thin on the ground now. I've had a bit of a bank of them, but if you've got anything to add, please email des@dorunning.org.uk. Comment on any of the videos during the week. Comment on any of the social media through Do Running. I'll pick those up. I'll try to answer them the best I can. Like I say, answer that question there. How has your first quarter of 2021 been? Hopefully it's been positive. If it's not, let us know. Perhaps it can drive some content to try and improve the situation for you. Whatever way we can do it, we'll get there. We'll keep working away, keep persevering, get to the end of this COVID situation, and then we'll be absolutely great for it, won't we? Till tomorrow and wake up to walk. Really, really looking forward to it. I know I don't have to work after. If I get all my jobs done tonight, that's why I'm so determined right now to get it all done. If I get it all done, I can go and do that and then just enjoy the weekend from that point. So have a good evening, guys. Please join me in the morning. I'll be somewhere different, potentially with a bit of a plan going forward on that. I just got to look into that this evening, but do check it out. It should be good if it comes off. So have a good one. Just doing it.